Here's a saying in cold email: your lead list is a message. What does that mean? Now, let's imagine that you have an incredible product, right? Let's say you've built something that could actually cure brain cancer. That's pretty amazing. Now, let's say you want to set up some cold email campaigns to reach out to people with cancer, and let's say you start reaching out to a bunch of people with breast cancer, right? It doesn't matter if you have an incredible product, no one is going to buy it if you're reaching out to the wrong people, right? If you're reaching out to the people that doesn't have the pain that you're looking to solve, it's just not going to matter. And this is where most people make the mistake, right? They pick a single tool, they put in a couple of filters, they get a lead list, and they just start blasting cold email to everybody in that list, right? Now, the problem is everyone else who is doing cold email is doing the exact same thing. They're doing it with the exact same tool, with the same filter. So these leads are getting hammered with messages from every single directions, and I essentially call this saturated data, right? Meanwhile, there are actually people and companies out there that nobody's emailing to them, right? Sitting with empty inboxes who actually have the exact same problem you can solve. Let me give you an example. So I'm going to go to a tool like Crunchbase. This is one of a very big database, and I want to search for a company like Spotify. I have it right here. Now, as you can see, Spotify is actually under something like audio, cloud computing, music streaming, podcast, even though they are technically a tech companies, right? So let's say you want to reach out to tech companies and you just put in filter like tech companies, right? You're not going to get the data that you want, right? You're not going to get companies like Spotify, and they are just sitting there, no one's emailing to them. And one more thing to actually shout out, but a lot of databases out there, they claim that they have verified emails, but essentially when you grab a lead list from those databases, the emails are not actually verified. So every time you have a lead list, you always have to clean it up. You always have to double verify it just to make sure that you're not getting a high bounce rate. Because let's say someone changed their job, right, like 3 months ago, and they don't have the email anymore, and you still send email to them, you're going to get a bounce. And the more bounces you get, it's going to hurt your domain reputation. So all the secondary inboxes, all the secondary domains that you've built in the previous section, now they all went to waste. So I'm going to walk you through a workflow that you should follow so you don't run into these two issues. I want to show you a few tools that you can actually use, and last but not least, I'm going to show you how to automate the entire thing as well. I'm going to switch to the whiteboard here, and let's call this lead list building process. There you go. All right, so when it comes to building a lead list, there are essentially 4 steps that you should follow. So the first step that you want to do is find the company. And essentially, this is the company level, right? You want to find the company that are within your ICP. You want to find companies that are essentially similar to your best customers, right? People that you actually want to work with. People that you know for a fact that have the pain that you can solve. So let me run through a few databases that you can use depending on your purpose, but you can use something like Crunchbase that I shared with you earlier to find more generic databases. Something like Apollo could work as well. One of my favorite tools I've been using recently is called AI Org. Now, you can go with something more targeted and more specialized as well. So let's say you want to target e-commerce companies, you want to use something like MyLeadFox. If you want to target local businesses, you want to use something like LocalPipe. You can use something like Serper or D7 Lead Finder. Essentially, these are the tools that help you scrape Google Maps to get all the businesses that you can reach out to. There are some other databases like Buildwood. Essentially, you can check for a technology of a certain company to see whether or not they use that particular technology, or something like DearStack, which essentially can accomplish the same thing. I'm a big fan of DearStack compared to Buildwood, because they typically give you more data. Or you can use something like clutch.co, essentially give you all the agencies that you can reach out to, right? Whether it's development agency, IT, marketing, design, so on and so forth. So yeah, just going back to my whiteboard, essentially that's the first step. You want to be very specific on the type of company that you want to reach out to. Now, once you have the company that you want to reach out to, you want to find the right person that you want to reach out to, right? Because CEO is going to have a different problem than a COO, right? This is essentially the account level. So you start with the company level first, and then you go into the account level, right? Now, here's a tip. If you have a service, you can sell directly to a CEO or some upper C-suite executive. They are going to buy that service if they don't have a person in the team handling that. So let's say you run an accounting firm, right? One of the best intent data that you can look for is whether or not they have a CPA or if they have like some kind of like tax financial advisor in the company. And if they do not, chances are they might need some sort of like CPA service. So, and if you want to sell a product, I would actually skip the CEO and go to the person who are in charge of using that product. So let's say you want to sell some kind of like DevOps SaaS, right? You want to go to the head of engineering, you want to go to the engineering manager, somebody that is actually using that tool, right? The CEO is not going to care about the product that can help you improve your quality assurance. They're not going to care about that, right? So go to the person who's in charge of using that tool if you're selling a product. That's a tip for you. Now, what tools should you use here? So previously, let's say you have a list of company, you can plug that company into something like AI org, and it's going to give you all that data. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So right now I am inside AI org. I just logged in. What you can do is, let's say previously you have a list of other companies that you want to reach out to, right? Something like Spotify.com, Google.com, whatever you want to reach out to, right? You have that list of other company domains. What you can do is go to tools like AI org. In the right hand side, you can click on company export, and then what you have to do is just upload that list, and then you can select the criteria like within all these companies. I want to reach out to people with, let's say, like 200 to 500 employees. I want to reach out to people with the company title of COO, whatever it might be, right? And what AI org is going to do is essentially look at the list that you just uploaded and find all the contact information from the people that you want to reach out to. So the TLDR is you want to search for the company that you want to reach out first, upload that list into a tool like AI org, and then use AI org to help you find the person that you want to reach out to. Now, let me show you an advanced tip on how you can actually use something like Claude to actually pull out a lead list for you, right? So remember earlier I showed you all the tools, and most of the time these tools might have something like an API or an MCP. So these are essentially connectors that you can connect that to your AI platform like ChatGPT or Claude, so that you can start communicating with your AI to help you build that lead list. So let me show you an example on how this would look like. Now let's take AI org as an example, but you can actually do this for every tool, right? As long as they have some kind of API documentation, or if they have some kind of MCP server that you can connect to, everything's fair game. So when I went into the MCP documentation, one thing I would see here is their URL, right? So this is the URL that you would need to connect to that tool. What you want to do is copy that. Now you're going to go into your Claude account, right? I have the desktop version, but you're going to go to your connector, click on the plus sign here, click on add custom connector, right? You're going to name it whatever you want. For this case, I'm going to name it like AI org connector. I'm going to copy and paste the link that I just copied, and I'm going to replace this port right here with my API key. And if you don't know how to create an API key, simply just sign up for the platform. So again, just go to AI org, make an account, and then it's gonna help you generate an API key, right? The key is essentially your private key. This is something that only you can have access to. So when you generate an API key, make sure you save it, right? So just to show you exactly what I'm talking about, I'm in the AI org platform now. There should be like an API section somewhere on the left-hand side. And then all you have to do is click on create API key right here, and then name the API key, and then it's gonna give you an API key, right? So yeah, you're gonna paste that key in here. This would be like something random. Now, once you have something like that, I only have one, so I'm not gonna create another key. You're essentially connected to the tool itself right inside your Claude dashboard. And yeah, what you want to do is just give it a prompt, right? You can go to your co-work session, you can go to your chat session, whatever you want to do it. Say something like, hey, use the AI org connector, find me 50 VPs of marketing and whatever your criteria is, and it should automatically pull out a lead list from you from these platforms. It's pretty cool, pretty fast, right? Now, is it going to be accurate data? Probably not. So what you want to do is essentially create a Claude skill for it and eventually start training the skill so that eventually over time it knows exactly what is your ICP, who do you want to target, so that you can pull a better list over time after time, right? So yeah, essentially that's how you can use AI to build lead lists for you. But keep in mind that AI is not perfect. You're going to have to keep training the AI on your product so that it eventually can build a better list over time. All right, so now that you have the company, now you have the person contact information, the next thing you want is to enrich it. What does enrichment mean? So enrich means that, let's say you have data from somebody and it has the person first name, last name, it got the company domain, but in some databases, unfortunately, it does not have their email. Enrichment process is essentially call another tool so that it can find that email from that person, right? Or you can use like an AI agent to like the web research, browse their LinkedIn profile to get their email. So that's what enrichment means. All right, so when you want to enrich your data, you want to use something like lead magic, or you want to use something like ICPs. Essentially, when you have a lead list of the person's first name, last name, and the company's domain, but let's say you don't have the email, all you have to do is create an account, upload that list in here, and it should give you all those people contact information like email, LinkedIn, etc. Again, I'm going to show you how to automate this entire step later down the road, but let's get into the last part, which is verify. So once you have everything ready to go, the last step is make sure you verify that so that it doesn't bounce, and just to make sure that you clean up the lead list a little bit. So to clean up your lead list, you can use something like Million Verifier or something like Bounce Man. Keep in mind that if you don't clean up your lead list, you're going to get a lot of bounces down the road, and that is going to hurt your domain reputation. It's going to cost you to having to redo your infrastructure from scratch. So don't skip this step. Make sure you always clean up your lead list before you send a single cold email. All right, now let's say this whole thing is a little bit complicated. I told you I'm gonna show you how to automate this whole process. But essentially, you can use a tool like Clay to automate literally the entire process like this, right? So what is Clay? Clay is essentially a workflow builder, right? It's not a database, it's not gonna help you get data. Well, it could, but people don't usually use it to get data, right? So Clay is like a workflow builder. Essentially, Clay has the ability to pull in a bunch of tools, like a bunch of API into one single platform. All you have to do is build this workflow once, and then every single time you have a new lead list, all you have to do is upload that into the Clay table, and it will automatically execute it every single time. Get this right, and you're talking to people who actually have the problem with accurate information instead of blasting a lead list that everyone else already burned through. Real quick, I want to send you a little gift before you go. I'm Wesley, I run SciMate, and we help B2B teams book meetings with Code Outbound. So if this was helpful, join the Code Academy and grab our entire Outbound playbook for free. No catch. Plus, you get access to me directly to look over your campaigns and exclusive discounts on tools, databases, and a bunch more. Links in the description. And if you want us to run your outbound campaign, book a call with my team. The link's down there too. Don't forget to subscribe, just start sending, and I'll see you in the next one.